you have a history of hurting yourself on the Tremors film sets and discussing it with Dread Central writers thereafter. So I was just hoping you could update us on any injuries from Shrieker Island.
Well, let's just say when you first say I have a history of hurting myself, let's not assume it's suicide attempts or cutting or anything like that, right? So, but yes, I do manage to think up new and inventive ways to hurt myself every time I do a Tremors film. And this was probably the worst, in that I had a certain fall in the course of the film that where I tore a rotator cuff in my shoulder. And so on the one before this, within 3 days, I had chipped a tooth on a gun scope, just putting a gun up to my face quickly, and the scope took out a front tooth, or part of a front tooth. And so on this one, yes, I managed to mangle a shoulder. And the most difficult part about it was I mangled the shoulder 2 weeks into a 4-week shoot, or 4 or 5 week shoot. And so had to continue with a bad shoulder, with a lot of painkillers, and and just true grit to get me through the rest of it, because it was quite painful.
You're a trooper. That sounds awful.
It was awful, to be honest with you. I've had the surgery. It's doing well. I'm getting my range of motion back, but it's going to take several more months.
Certainly. That's a pretty serious recovery time, rotator cuff injury.
Yeah.
So
yes, I hurt myself.
Right.
Again.
So Michael, Burt seems so opposite from you. You, Michael Gross, the actor. I wonder, when you were kind of conceptualizing the character, for example, when you went into a script read, he speaks completely different than you. Was that something that you brought to the role, or was that something that the director said, I'd like you to talk more like this?
It's something that began with Tremors 1 and continued with the writing of Tremors 2, 3, and 4. And then there was a 12 or 13 year hiatus between Tremors 4 and Tremors 5. So we learned to speak Burt again in that amount of time. And it has a lot to do with the way he expresses himself. That is to say, the way he frames words and sentences, and how he, it's sometimes very technical, and it's never emotional, so to speak. He doesn't speak emotional. He doesn't speak that language. So I've always taken a turn in all the scripts, talking with the writers about, well, I must say that in the first 3, I just kept my mouth shut and did what they wrote, because it was so wonderful, but particularly after a 13-year hiatus, it was necessary for me to go back and look at it and have a part to play in the creating of Burt's dialogue, just because he is so specific. Somebody asked me the other day, would I do an interview as Burt in character? And I said, absolutely not. I said, I can't do it. I don't talk like that, man. I need 2 or 3 drafts to get to Burt, because of the iconic and sort of queer way he expresses himself. So I need some practice. I need to refine. I need to do a couple drafts.
Yeah, certainly. Now, to date, you've been in every Tremors movie plus the TV series. I have to think that this franchise is really special to you, to keep you coming back. What is it about Burt that keeps you saying yes every time someone knocks on your door and says, we'd like you to play him again?
The comic possibilities are what keeps me coming back. It's that simple. The obsessive compulsive disorder, the paranoia, the which we turn into comedy. I mean, paranoia and obsessive compulsive disorder cannot be a good thing. I have a little of both, so I can tell you that. But so you take it and magnify it. Comedy is about extremes. Comedy is about exaggerations. And so it's that exaggeration of human behavior that so appeals to me. The peculiar way he speaks, his take on the world, that no matter who's there and what the story is, I want to be a part of it because Burt is just so wonderfully unique. They created a marvelous comic character 30 years ago, and I've just indulged in it ever since.
Very cool. At the start of Shrieker Island, we catch up with Burt as he's trying to kind of hang up his Graboid hunting hat, but he gets pulled back in. Could you see yourself possibly bringing Burt to life one more time, or do you think he's hunted his final Graboid?
You know, I thought Burt was finished after the first film. So I know nothing about this. And after the fourth film, I said, okay, you know, over 10 years passed before we did a fifth. So I'm always satisfied wherever we stop. And I think, okay, and with this one, for example, 7, okay, that sounds like a good number. I felt that way about 4. Okay, a nice little quartet. We've done it. We finished it. Wonderful. So here we are after 7, and it doesn't just depend on what I want to do. It depends on what Universal Studios wants to do, Universal Home Video, whether they get enough sales to generate more interest. Naturally, I'm getting older, so I'll really hurt myself badly the next time we do it if I'm not careful. So I don't know. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on a good script too, because ultimately, I felt after this one that we've done as many. I couldn't think of another story offhand, another position in which I'd wanted to place Burt. In 5, we had him confront. The part of the fun has always been having him confront the emotional hurdles as well as just the monsters. Let's say the monsters in his own life as opposed to the monsters outside of him. Finding in Tremors 5 that he had a son he never knew about. This man who wants to be totally alone without and assumes he has no living relatives at all, suddenly finds himself with a son. What do you do with that? And also in 6, we had him deal with his own mortality, being infected with Graboid venom. What is it like for Burt to consider dying, if that's going to happen, passing the reins on to someone else? And then this one, it's dealing with the intimacy of a woman in his life from the past. And does he even want, who questions the way he's been living for many, many years, who questions the lifestyle choices he's made. So how does he deal with that? You know, so we've tried to imbue him with some emotional life beyond the monsters, you know, his own personal monsters, his own personal hurdles, if you will.
Certainly. Well, I think we might be running short on time, so just allow me to say congratulations on being able to pull off a shirtless scene after 40 plus years in the Hollywood machine. I mean, that's really kind of an accomplishment. I don't think I could pull off a shirtless scene after being alive for 40 years. So, you know, I mean, you're doing something right.
No, all the this will play very well in the assisted living homes, I'm sure. Seeing a 73-year-old with his shirt off. But you know, after some point, you know, you just have to get out there without shame and not think about it. I don't think when I do something like that, I don't think of myself. I can't think of myself as Michael Gross, or I would not take my shirt off. It's that simple, because I think to myself, nobody wants to see this shit, you know. But as Burt Gummer, I can take my shirt off, but not as Michael Gross. It's weird. It's weird.
I think acting is interesting like that. You know, you for a moment kind of step away from yourself, and you really do, in a lot of ways, truly become someone else.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And let your guard down and do it.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate your time. It was so great to chat with you, and I look forward to hearing what injuries you incur on the set of Tremors 8, should that ever be a thing.
I might just get injured closing this laptop. Who the hell knows, you know? Okay.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.